There we go. Hardest thing I need to ask you, Carson, just your first and last name for me.
Yep, Carson Jorgensen. I'm the chairman of the Utah Republican Party, CarsonJorgensen.
First thing I wanted to ask you, obviously, what came down late yesterday. What do you make of the news surrounding former President Donald Trump's indictment?
This is one of those things that time's going to tell, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to jump out in front of this early, and I don't think that's a smart place to be because there's way too much up in the air here. Political gamesmanship above all. I mean, Republicans are honestly getting tired of it. It was the Russia hoax, and it was the Steele dossier, and then it was the raids on Mar-a-Lago, and then it was Ukraine. And I mean, not in that order, but it's been one thing after another, and every time the same thing happens, nothing ever happens. And so Republicans just believe this is going to be the same thing over again.
Where do you think things go from here regarding that? Do you think more things get pulled into that from
Yeah,
other avenues? I mean, you think it gets really messy?
yeah, I mean, this really has no choice but to get messy. But honestly, I don't think this is going to do anything but help President Trump, to be honest, because it just brings more attention. I've heard down the pipe that there are people who haven't voted for him in the past that are like, you know what, if they don't want him in there this bad, that they're willing to continue this persecution of him and chase these little things down, that they're going to vote for him in the upcoming election.
How do you think the people of Utah view former President Trump right now?
Yeah, there was that poll that came out, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago that still showed President Trump at 49% among registered Republicans here in the state of Utah. That's a great number for him going forward. And like I say, this I think is just going to help continue to drive that. People are just going to say, you know what, I if this is how it's going to be, he must be doing something right.
I wanted to ask you about Governor Ron DeSantis. Obviously, he weighed in on this yesterday, but why is he coming here to Utah next month?
You know, with the governor, this is something that we kind of been eyeballing, and the biggest thing was, and I wanted to make this very clear that this is Governor Ron DeSantis coming. This has nothing to do with the upcoming presidential election, and I've been very transparent on that. We saw what Governor Ron DeSantis did in Florida leading up to this last election. He won by a small margin in his previous election, but then in this past election, he won running away with it. And it's those conservative policies that continue to drive Florida more towards the Republican ticket. And that's something we want to see, and that's something we want to make happen here in Utah and continue that going forward.
What message do you hope he shares when he comes here for your event later next month?
I really hope he shares a message of optimism going forward because of what he has done in Florida and what those conservative principles have done for the people of Florida and that demographic shift that we have seen run towards those conservative principles in Florida. And I hope he continues to share that optimistic look for our country because I believe that's how every state is going to continue to make headway, especially the Republican Party and those conservative principles we believe in is by living them and by doing them, and people will see that it makes their life exponentially better.
Carson, have you heard any complaints from anybody about Governor DeSantis being your headline?
No, we haven't actually. I did expect a little bit of pushback on it, but we really haven't, and we've tried to make this, like I say, it's not a battle, and I have made sure I reached out to the appropriate people to say this is not about a presidential run. This is nothing like that. This is simply Governor Ron DeSantis, and he's extremely popular amongst conservatives and Republicans, and we're happy to have him come.
You were in Emery County last night, right?
I was, yes.
What is happening there right now regarding the hopes to censure, Senator Romney at this point? What's going on?
Yeah, so last night they had a vote. There was a resolution put forward by the Emery County Republican Party, and it was voted on last night, and it was 34-41, I believe, in favor of not censuring Mitt Romney. So it failed, but people need a place to voice their disagreements, and people want to be able to say, and oftentimes I found in this deal that most of the time people just want a place to be heard, and then they feel like they're being ignored. They tend to get a little bit louder. And so if we hear those concerns and they want a place to voice that, and they do, and I never see a problem with that.
Is censuring someone a good course of action in today's society in your eyes?
You know, that's That's a tough one to answer. Once again, I think people want to be heard, and that is the biggest thing I hear from a lot of them is, nobody listens. They're not doing what we ask, and so they look for an outlet. Whether censure makes a difference or not is here nor there, because like I say, that's kind of up to those politicians to whom they're speaking at.
You're right. It definitely does make things more loud. It probably creates more tension, but who am I to say that? But anything else on any of those topics you feel is important to get out there? Anything else you wanted to share? Obviously, I'm glad we got the link up. It's a busy time for you.
Yeah.
Busy time for everybody. I mean, I'll just put that out there too. But anything else you want to add?
No, it's just that time of year. But I think what I want to add more than anything is, in this country, we believe in innocent until proven guilty. And it seems that with President Trump and what they've been doing, like him or hate him, what they've been doing to him this entire time was always guilty until proven innocent. And in that we've spent more time chasing our tails and hunting for something to hang him on than we have been, enacting policy and letting him run the country. And so I hope that we can kind of come to an end of that going forward and just say, you know what, we believe in fair chances and we believe in justice in this country. Absolutely. But also, when do you stop?
You're obviously leaving your position with the Utah GOP. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I've thoroughly enjoyed serving as a Republican Party chair, and the Republican Party is in fine hands here in this state. I couldn't have better picked somebody to succeed me in this with Rob Axon. He is a phenomenal leader and been very, very involved in the party. But the party's in great hands, and we have done a lot of phenomenal work, and I'm extremely proud of my team and the things we have done. We've gotten the party to where we are not in debt. We have no outstanding finances. We are able to really find a point of neutral buoyancy in the party. And the party, I believe right now is primed and ready to go into the future. And I'm proud of where we're leaving it. And I don't plan on leaving Utah politics anytime soon.
Thank you, Carson.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me.